Good evening and welcome to the Sultans of Shadilay podcast for the 11th of June 2021. Tonight we are joined by Second Plague, that oil guy, of Lotus Eater's bullying Trim fame, and of course Trim.
Hello. Also, it's not that much bullying when you enjoy it, so I don't know.
Yes.
I see it as a immortalizing honor. Thank you, Oil.
Yep,
Seriously,
so-
I would like
I
to.
fucking love that video.
I would like to just point out that he's a pastry chef, so it wasn't bread. It was in fact a penis au chocolat.
Really?
Yeah, finest
Fuck,
Belgian.
man.
Is
You-
it sus? Is it sus?
You
that
deserve
made me kinda
respect, dude.
hungry?
You deserve all the respect. How was it? Was it good?
My wife ate it.
Aw, that's
you,
adorable.
you gave
Yeah,
her the
makes
penis?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Well, you know,
I couldn't
this is
resist.
still- This is
I
still
was
recovering,
tempted to make it much smaller, but I thought,
You have to satisfy her,
Yeah,
you know?
I told Trim he needs to reenact that in real life.
man. No, if you really wanted to make it accurate,
Yeah,
you
should
should have
do,
done.
really.
Oh, I
If you're-
have my intentions to do so, but I made the mistake of sending all my chef clothes before myself to the boat, so I don't have to carry all that shit aboard when I leave on Monday. Sorry, when I leave on
Okay.
Monday, so
Well,
I don't
that-
have the clothes reenacted.
that
I
old
can't
guy,
believe
he
the
was
guys
good.
hadn't twigged what it was about, which means that they didn't know with the sequel one either.
Ah,
Which is kind of disappointing, isn't it?
It's like I didn't know what. I thought it was like super obvious.
Oh yeah,
It's a
no,
ginger chef doll. What the fuck?
Yeah, right. I'm going to do. I'm going to do a video about it for Monday.
Well, they understood the previous one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
I don't
if
think
you,
Carmen
if you,
said
if you
about
need a
that anyway.
voicing for that thing, if you need a voicing for that, for sketches like that, I'll give you one in completely broken Norwegian English too.
God.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will
yeah.
do this for you.
We're going to do that for future ones, but I've got it already in my mind for Monday. I'm going to do that other one we spoke about. I'll try and do
Yeah.
that over the weekend and send it to you.
I am hyped for that.
That one should be good.
Well, okay, if you wanted to make the design of it even more accurate to that oil guy, then you should have like based it off of some NSFW art because he's really into that kind of thing.
yeah, but those normies wouldn't have understood.
You second have a real issue with my cultured taste.
I
You
don't know if it's
poor-
a taste
you
as much
poor
as it is an
Christian
obsession.
boy. You poor little Christian boy who's yet to break out of your shell.
I gotta break out, man.
Yeah, you gotta break out.
Right? You know, like maybe I'll just like stop being a Christian and a base person, dude. You know, I'll just listen to whatever the CDC tells me. Like, don't even gotta think about it.
Oh god.
All right.
I mean, H3 has gone, from a really cool guy to a really chill guy to a complete and utter moron.
All right. So, before we jump right into the news, to quote Callum, who's quoting someone else who doesn't matter, Spoon has done his first video, The Wicked Wench and the Border. If you haven't already checked it out, which, judging by the views, you probably have, go check it out. It's really good.
I loved it. It was fucking beautiful.
It is a very brilliant one. So,
Yeah, I just laughed as soon as you pulled it up, and it was like the Joker on screen.
I just chose that part of the video on purpose. Oh, right.
Honestly, Ben Shapiro's right. Like Kamala should like audition for the role of the Joker.
No makeup required.
I mean, she already has the crazy eyes and the laugh.
Yep.
Yeah.
The total disdain for humanity. Yep.
Well, at least Joker kills you with some kind of kindness. He lets you laugh.
At least the Joker has
Kamala
character.
will just make Kamala will just make you look in
Well,
sheer
I don't know.
horror and terror.
I don't know how that's like a one-up, though, because I've been laughing at Kamala all week.
True, but are you dead yet?
For the last 5 years. All right, so jumping into the after show. So, G70, as the Lotus Eaters call it. Biden on board. So, I want to know why these guys are allowed to travel and I'm not.
Because they are the higher class and they have rights that.
But they don't
since
have
they
any
are more
class.
equal than we are. But since they're more equal than we are, so they
Yes,
can do.
some animals are more equal than others.
Oink oink.
Yep. COVID and climate. As always, our least favourite topics.
What does that have to do with, what does COVID have to do with fucking climate change?
Oh, I'm sure they can come up with some bullshit reason.
The only bullshit thing they can do is be like, oh, we set the precedent already that we can shut people's businesses down and, at least if you're in the UK, force them to, stay in their houses with, 1 hour of outdoor time a day.
That's the same amount of yard time prisoners get.
But, yeah. But it's what? Is this the kind of thing that they were is the tenuous connection between COVID and climate change what they were talking about months ago? Or they're oh yeah, well, I mean, lockdowns. Maybe we could do climate lockdowns. Where it's I might be more amenable to the government doing shit in times of emergency if there was a limiting principle that kept it at okay, we're just doing it now, and once the issue's over, we're completely done with it. But that's never what it is. It's oh yeah, no, 20 days to flatten the curve, 500 days later. Yes, we're still doing this. Maybe we could do this for climate change when there's no pandemic. It's fuck you.
Second says suck on my second.
Yeah, essentially.
Yes. By which I do mean Second Amendment, but
of course.
I wish I had rights. Must be nice.
Yeah.
Hey, at least I have money. Oh wait, I have to pay it all in taxes. I just love the one with Boris just fucking getting sniffed by Biden.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, nothing made me lose respect for Boris faster than him, just fucking spamming Build Back Better on a social media. What the fuck are you doing, man?
And what do you mean by Build Back Better? Are we going to reset things, Boris? Are we going to have a great reset? Is that what you're suggesting, Boris?
Yeah, I think Boris should have just said, yeah, well, the COVID pandemic kind of fucked shit up, so we need to, make Britain great again.
Yeah.
That would actually be a fucking better phrase for the UK, Great Britain, because that's a thing. So it's make Britain great again. That actually works on a couple different levels there.
Well, there's one thing coming out of this which I didn't see coming. It is actually that May has never said something as base as she did. She just called it out as it is, and even ended it with a memento mori quote. I did not see that one coming at all.
The thing that annoys me about climate conversations is that the tone of the conversation was set long ago. And it's the same with COVID and medical things. And the tone is that prevention is better than cure. Is it? Says who? If climate change is really a thing, and I suspect it is a thing, but I don't really think it's being overly caused by us. The question is, are we capable of doing something about it? Do we have to just stop, technical progress, or can we just use our technical progress to fix the problem? I can tell you at least 6 ways off the top of my head how to fix it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's exactly the thing, and this might be my bias as someone who just graduated with an engineering degree, but I think primarily it is going to be an engineering solution rather than some kind of policy solution. it's not going to be like the government getting rid of gas and oil that solves it. It's going to be like somebody creating a competing technology that is actually more viable. And when people like Bill Nye are like, oh, well, the planet 100 years from now is going to be 4 degrees hotter. It's like, I mean, that just seems kind of ridiculous to me because I don't see like humanity 100 years into the future not having like
Air conditioning.
Well, I don't see I don't see humanity like 100 years in the future having not technologically outpaced the issue, even if you just leave the market to its own devices.
But we already have. It's an look. The reason why there aren't companies spewing out solutions to this constantly is because it's not an actual problem. In your mind, what is the outcome of climate change? What is the negative result of climate change? What happens?
It gets
People
a little
talk
bit
about
hotter.
Okay, but what does that cause? What is it getting a little bit hotter doesn't kill people? What's the issue?
They're talking about the melting of the ice caps, the extinction
Okay.
of certain species as well as
rising water
Rising
levels,
water
release
levels.
of diseases, that seems like
Right.
legitimate. I mean, as far as like heat making shit unlivable, like I don't know. I live in like fucking Texas where it hits like for you Europeans, it hits like 40 degrees Celsius on quite a few days in the summer. So I don't.
Okay.
I mean,
So
it's 30 today.
Rising sea levels. It's not because of icebergs melting. It's specifically the polar ice caps, right? In that it's landlocked ice that's now entering the water.
Yeah.
Correct.
So if I go up there and I build myself a nice big pipeline to the center of the ice cap and pump that water back onto the ice cap, what's going to happen?
Chuck Diddley.
Well, like, who's the guy who like?
How much energy do you think that would take?
More than it's worth.
There was actually this guy this environmentalist.
We pump oil across nations all day, every day. It's no
Except
harder
in the
to pump
US.
water.
I mean, when it comes to using pumps to get water back on top of the fucking iceberg.
Well,
could we scrub the carbon out of the air? Could we do that? Do we have the technology to do it?
Don't we already have?
Space shuttles work? Since the 1950s.
We do, but I think it's a matter of scaling up that technology.
No, it's not.
I mean, I do think it is a matter of like kind of scaling.
Instead of solar powering our houses, why don't we solar power carbon scrubbers?
Let me introduce the man, the myth, the legend, the kitchen utensil spoon.
What's up,
hard to do some of this stuff, you know?
Well, I was reading something today that basically ties into that. Apparently, solar power is so cheap to build that it's cheaper to build new solar projects than just to run old stuff. How is that not an infinitely good thing? Like, let's just stick solar panels on everything we can think of, and then
because we can't.
Yeah.
So what do you think a solar panel is actually made out of?
Shit, we've gone mine, I know, but enlighten me. I'm not an expert on it.
It's not glass. It's quartz, and it's a very, very particular, very, very high purity level of quartz. So high in purity level that virtually all of it comes from a single strip mine.
Oh, really?
Yep. It is a incredibly finite resource. China is able to produce a huge amount of solar panels because they use a shitty version that they get from China. But the vast majority of the world's solar panels come from a single strip mine in the US.
You see, I'm about to do something pretty taboo and actually like give Joe Biden credit for something. But I remember
Boo.
Relax. I'm only giving him credit for something relative to the other Democrats who ran for president in 2020.
That's not saying much.
Yeah, exactly. It's not saying much, but like, when they were like talking about like climate change and environmentalism and energy and shit, like, it's so funny because they're all like, "Oh, climate change, really big problem." But then all of them, except for Joe Biden, are like, what? Nuclear power? What the fuck is that shit? No, get rid of it. Fucking ban it. Like Bernie, we are going to not build any more nuclear power plants because nuclear is bad. Nuclear is a scary word, and it just enriches the billionaires and the millionaires and the corporations. Kind of like, well, okay, you're serious about getting off of fossil fuels, and yet you're like, ooh, nuclear sounds scary. Like,
Yeah, and the funny fact is that with thorium, it's not even able to be. You can't even turn thorium into fucking nukes, right? And it's actually a much safer isotope to use for fueling.
Well, even if you're using nasty, evil, dangerous uranium. I live in Australia. Like 99% of the population lives within 100 kilometers of the ocean. The fuck are we doing with all that desert? If we'll stick some power plants out there, and I look at that problem solved.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I
I mean-
have a take on the nuclear power.
Go on.
Okay, I think nuclear power is the way to go, but I'm going to tell you why, in my opinion, the progressives will never go for it. Because in order for you to work at a nuclear power plant, you need highly specialized intelligent scientists.
Oh yeah.
Where the hell do you think progressives are ever going to get those? You'd have to actually produce things on meritocracy, not fuck around with diversity hires when it comes to nuclear material. So, no, that is in that
you say
regard.
that, but so the French model. France is a huge. I don't know if you know this. Obviously, I'm in power and petrochemicals and things like that, and also military stuff. So I have a sort of wide knowledge of these sort of things. France has a huge nuclear industry. I don't know if you know this, but they actually
I do now.
they use very small nuclear reactors. So actually, what they do is they build basically the nuclear reactor that would power, in Britain, a nuclear submarine, right? They build a power station that size, and it's largely automated. And they'll build them in fairly rural places near a small town. And the payoff is the local town essentially gets free power. And then it powers sort of 2 or 3 other towns around. France have been doing this for ages. There's loads of them. But they're very, very small and very easy to control and very safe.
That does sound like an excellent solution.
Does the local town with its like power plant, when giving power to other towns, like get money from them for that?
Oh. But also cuts down on transmission losses, infrastructure maintenance costs and stuff like that, because they're instead of having a giant power station in the middle of the country and sort of running cables out everywhere, actually they're fairly local. They also provide local jobs.
Oh well, the left definitely wouldn't be interested in that.
Well, that
you know what
sounds
terrifies
like
me?
a good thing.
At this rate, if Macron can fuck off and Le Pen gets in charge, France is dangerously close to becoming like a world leader in more than just 1 or 2 things.
That'd be
that. And I don't like the
also
fact that France is leading cultural-wise, and that to me is greatly worrying. I want to watch a French bastards leading the culture wars. Fuck's sake, that's what the English-speaking ones are for.
But when people think of nuclear reactors, they think of Chernobyl and things like that, right?
No, dude, they think of Homer Simpson.
Yeah, but there's a lot of lessons have been learned. I mean, one of the main problems at Chernobyl was
communism. Communism sucks.
It was communism that fucked up Chernobyl.
Yes,
basically.
Yeah, but they couldn't lift the control rods out, right? So modern reactors have the control rods underneath. You have to lift them in. If you don't lift them in, they fall out.
The design itself was actually made to function. It's just that they didn't use the proper resources because it was cheaper. So again, communism fucked it up.
I don't know if it's true, but I know that it was built in built with not communist technology, but communist safety standards, which you would think if you had so much state regulation would be better. But no.
Yeah, and then they failed to even live up to those safety standards. Like, they broke their own safety rules like half a dozen times.
We will have less regulation, comrade. Nothing will ever go wrong, except this one.
in the UK, I mean, this is true, right? It's absolutely insane. But if you live in the UK, it's physically safer for you to go to work on an oil rig than it is to go to work on in an office. You are more likely to sustain an injury in an office than you are on an oil rig, man.
Yeah, because some fat
These-
Karen is going to yell
these
at you and make you want to kill yourself.
Undeniable, factual, empirically proven fact. That's just true. You are far more likely to be injured in an office than you are on an oil rig.
Well, especially
I
when
Because
are we
we have
looking
taken
at
it incredibly
the-
seriously.
Yeah, and not to mention it when you're looking at just rate of incident, it doesn't necessarily take into effect the seriousness. So technically, some idiot tripping over a power cord and smacking their nose on the floor, that's a workplace injury. You tend not to have, due to the nature of oil rigs, accidents are rare, but they generally really fuck you up.
You get two kinds of injuries on an oil rig.
Security protocols aboard those places too. Really strict.
Yeah, go ahead, Owen.
You get two kinds of injury on an oil rig. You get a minor hand injury, and then you get sucking chest wounds.
I was going to
Pretty
say
much it.
pain or death.
Fully penetrated
chest
through
wound?
the chest.
Oh,
you know, what you can say,
yeah. Oh, now I got it.
Full penetration. Yeah, I mean,
Getting
if
turned
you
into a
encounter
thin
an
paste on an oil is a pretty good chance.
well, literally every offshore medic I've ever met has been an ex-military medic, because because virtually all the injuries are like when somebody's like disconnected a flange and there's still pressure behind it or something, you know, and they literally get a bolt through the chest.
Oof.
It's that sort of injury. So it's like penetrating chest wounds. You need to have been like dealing with people that have been shot and things like that. Really.
I'd like to know what the comparisons were for the office that made that more dangerous than the oil rig.
People
Like,
falling off
what?
because it's stupid stuff. People tripping over, falling off chairs, doing stupid shit, putting knives in toasters and fucking dumbass.
Yeah, because it's looking at
That
the
happens
rate
as
of
often
accident
as makes
rather
me
than the
angry.
severity of accident.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And Spoon had a point about like the Karens in the office making you want to kill yourself, right? Because well, I mean, especially in Britain, because honestly, it seems like the thing about a British accent coming from an American perspective is that it has this amplifying effect. It either makes you sound a lot more classy, or if you're like a total shrill Karen, you know, that is much worse in a British accent compared to an American accent.
Sure.
I don't know. That's just kind of my take. Like, it either
I'm not
makes you sound so much classier or so much more autistic, depending on what the baseline level is.
I wonder if I can be a Karen with this voice.
Try it.
I don't think I'd be taken very seriously.
But
I think- I think I would just sound overly pedantic and just massively condescending, even more than I already do.
Try it.
Well, you're not meant for Karening, you're meant for mansplaining.
Oh god, yeah.
Definitely.
That's not even a joke. That's just true.
It's more sort of gentlemanly explaining, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Lady,
feminism doesn't like gentlemen.
I am a lady, and you. I'm a lady. Sorry, fucking hell. You're a lady, and I'm a man, and therefore, fuck you. It's about as pedantic as I would get.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you
I
ever,
have a
if you
penis,
ever
therefore
get
I
called
win.
on, yeah, and if you ever get called out on being sexist, like, hey, why are you sexist in this like debate? You can just go and just start demonically.
Oh,
Whatever
God, yeah,
you
that
just
is
went then
even
was
less.
so awful that Discord cut it out.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't really care about
Do
being called
not.
sexist.
Do not perfect. I know you're good at imitation, second, but do not perfectly imitate Kamala's laugh, okay? Reality can't contain
Discord
more
doesn't
than
even
one.
fucking like it, man.
I just
I-
wanted to go back to solar powered carbon scrubbers really quickly so I can point out something Robert Longshaw said in chat. Solar powered carbon scrubbers, they're called trees.
It's actually kind of good.
Yeah, and
Like,
there's
that's-
another
that's
bonus
the kind
with
of
trees,
thing.
by the way. There's
That's
another
pretty
bonus
good,
well, I
with
mean-
trees.
I like that.
They look
True
better.
story. True
Fucking
story.
get the Lorax out there with his mustache. Like shit, the
They're
Lorax
cheaper.
with that fucking
Comparing-
facial hair, the Lorax probably watches the Lotus Eaters.
Yeah. Well, that's why a lot of focus is going away. One of the many reasons a lot of focus is going away from like plastic and petrochemicals to back to paper, because if you do it properly, it's actually wood is a renewable resource.
Or because paper is the paper industry is buying off Congress.
I mean,
Actually,
everyone's buying
big
off
paper.
Congress.
There's actually a funny thing now you say that, because that reminds me about when I used to take biology at school. While trees do grow back, they grow back so slowly that we do not count them as a renewable resource, actually.
Hmm.
But
So they
paper is
are
also
repeat-
bullshit. I
Yeah.
mean, I think one of the things that people I encounter a lot of people that just do not understand the concept of recycling and actually what recycling is. If you recycle it, if you have a sheet of paper, you cannot recycle a sheet of paper into a sheet of paper. If you recycle a plastic bottle, you cannot recycle a plastic bottle into a plastic bottle. This is not how it works. That one plastic bottle will be recycled into 100 plastic bottles. We do not need 100 billion plastic bottles. Therefore, all plastic bottles cannot be recycled. Paper is the same. Everything is the same.
I don't know,
Cannot
at
make
least
a
with
perfect
plastic,
product from an original one.
At
Are you
least
trying to
with
say it has
plastic,
diminishing
I could
return?
see. I could
Yeah,
at least see
you
fucking
can't.
plastic being like melted down or something. I don't know, like what you would do with fucking paper though. Like I've always wondered
Well, no,
that actually.
well, because it gets shredded into its right. So paper is essentially cotton at the in a true
Cellulose,
sense.
isn't it?
Mostly,
It's essentially
Hmm?
It's cellulose, long strands of cellulose, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Which is why
But
it
we
can't
sort
be
of
recycled
it's threads
into.
of cotton essentially.
Yeah, and
But if
isn't
when
that?
you recycle it,
Sorry, I'll just finish my point and then let you go, because I think what I want to ask is essentially what you're going to explain. Cellulose is the cellulose is one of the reasons that it's so hard to recycle used paper into new proper paper, because you keep every time you shred it, you decrease the size of the cellulose fibers, so you end up with shit paper, which is essentially why it's turned into shit paper. Is that right?
that
All
is exactly it. That is exactly right.
It's a
What you
lot of
get is
words that I
garbage.
didn't understand right now. I'm not in the
So,
right
so
frame of
if you
mind.
start with, well, basically, if you start with a really high quality of paper and recycle it, you get a lower grade of paper, and then a lower grade, and a lower grade, and then just garbage.
So you're saying
You
recycling is
cannot.
bad?
No, I'm just saying it's not a man. I'm just saying that people just go, oh, recycle it. You can only recycle so much of it because eventually you end up with an infinite supply. So, for instance, my own father was a paper. He was what they called a paper chemist. He literally designed paper for a living at a chemical level. And so he worked for a large paper manufacturing business, and they had a tank that basically was part of the process, and it collected up sort of garbage fiber, and they were trying for years to try and figure out something that they could do with it. And the only thing that the sort of fibrous inserts you get for plant pots.
Oh
They're sort
yes,
of
I
mushy
know the
coloured.
ones you mean. Yes.
So they looked at making those, and they realized that the effluent from the tank would be sufficient to crash the world market of those every year. So one paper plant, one single small paper plant in Scotland could completely fulfill the entire world's requirement of those every year. So what
Holy
do the
shit.
other 100,000 paper plants around the world do with theirs?
Okay, I have a question to
It's
ask
not
now.
a feasible use.
This is going to sound really weird and maybe a bit offensive. How autistic would you have to be to realize and calculate that?
Yeah, about as autistic as I am.
'Cause, like, that's insane and also kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Just imagine, like, I would just look at it like, huh. Hold on a second. I'm just doing some insane calculations and statistics to get that. It does sound pretty
Yeah.
crazy, though.
He was also the guy responsible for gyprock having measurements on the outside of the paper. So.
Well, there you go. That's cool.
It's some obscure shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, welcome to my life.
But yeah.
Well, speaking of paper and environmentalism, though, like I'm just thinking of like the fucking stupid paper straws, which
Well,
apparently
God,
are
they're
less
specifically about paper, it's about all
environmentally friendly
recycling.
than the plastic straws.
Yeah.
Stop
Like,
using
Well,
plastic straws, says I with a private jet.
Well, Okay, okay. Again,
Fucking hell.
No, because
about the plastic straw.
having a straw is essential if you have like a mustache and beard.
yeah.
Stop trying to defend
True.
Hitler.
Hitler didn't have a beard. He only
we
had a
could,
mustache.
we could probably make an ableism argument against paper straws. Because
Ooh.
disabled people need straws so that they can have the dignity of drinking. And if you use a paper straw, it gets soggy and it makes them look bad.
No,
Therefore,
I
it's
have another one.
ableist.
I have another one.
Go, okay.
I have another one. Paper is basically white. It's white in its natural form, and we
Actually,
can
it's
add other
not,
colors
but-
to it, right?
Well, it's actually worse than that. It's purposely bleached white. It's not
Yes,
naturally
it's
white.
purposely
it's actually
bleached white.
it's actually
using a paper straw is white supremacy. Boom, get
Yeah.
fucked.
Okay, sounds good. Sorry, Oil, I think you were going to tell us something about straws.
Oh, right. So, well, yeah, sorry. So, again, this is my annoyance about recycling and one-use plastic and stuff like that. Here's the thing, right? Why are you not allowed straws? You're not allowed straws because straws get up a turtle's nose in the sea. Okay? Do you think that the straws that are in the sea are coming from the UK? Do you think they're coming from the US? I
No,
mean,
they're
we
coming
can
from
track.
shithole countries that have no interest
No,
in throwing
virtually-
rubbish in bins.
Again, if you want to look at these things, I mean, the research has all been done. Virtually all of the sea's plastic waste comes from one tributary. One.
Is that
Is it
part
China?
in
You want
China?
to take a guess where it is?
It's in China, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know.
China,
Of course it is.
China.
of course.
You know how you solve this problem?
I mean, these are not things that are not known.
Is it Spoon?
well-
Is it nuking China?
No, it's teaching the sea turtles to stop doing coke.
Yeah, that's true. True story. True story.
I mean, I have
It's
another.
only-
It does not
you said
involve
that
nuking
it's
China.
just
I'm
like-
sorry. It does not involve nuking China. But
Even
it
Stick
involves
suggested
moving
this.
all work to Taiwan.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
Trim and I were joking around last night and we figured out a solution to the China problem. It's not a final solution, so don't get excited. It is the
Oh,
correct.
God damn it.
So
I
what we
have
have
the right
decided
mustache for that
is that
shit.
we are going to conquer China, make all of China part of Taiwan, and then we're going to make Taiwan a British colony.
Oh, nice.
And Hong Kong will be free,
Uh,
liberated
the-
completely. Be another colony.
Basically, the thing that annoys me about climate change and recycling and things like that is everybody, the people who knows perfect acceptance of ignoring established fact, things they know to be true that are ignored for the sake of these ideals. So, a while ago in the UK, we banned the use of standard tungsten halogen light bulbs, which is the light bulbs that you grew up with, right?
Oh yeah, I remember
These
this.
are standard light bulbs. So typically in the UK, people would have 100-watt light bulbs in their house. You know, maybe 3 or 4 of those around the house. So maybe some 60 watts or whatever. And along come the compact fluorescent fittings, and they use sort of 6 watts. And everyone goes, "Wow, like you only use 6 watts to light the house."
No.
Is that more? Well, what's actually happening there? Why is that fluorescent fitting be able to produce the light with just 6 watts instead of 100 watts? What's the difference?
Fancy ass
You know?
chemicals, isn't it?
No,
Oh,
because the tungsten bulb was only producing 6 or sort of 5 or 6 watts of light as well.
oh, right.
So where was the other 94 watts going?
Heat.
So the UK is a shitty cold country. Okay.
Oh, now I see where you're going with this.
Yes.
Right. So during the winter, when you had your lights on, you were producing something in the region of 400 to 500 watts of heat in your house from a light bulb. The light bulb was a shitty light bulb, but it was a really good fucking heater, 94% efficient. Where is that heat
Nice.
being produced? Where is that heat being produced now?
From fucking
In the
heaters,
radiators.
regular heaters.
From your central heating system. Do you
Which is
know
likely
what
using
the
more
av-
power,
Do you know what the
Guys-
average efficiency of a gas boiler is?
like 50%.
Yeah. When it's new, maybe 60, 70%. Now, after 10 years, maybe 40.
Well, on
Yeah.
that,
So
Oh,
the
I was
net.
too close.
So do you think the average household's net carbon emissions went up or down when they changed?
up would
Up.
be my guess based on that information.
Their average energy bill, do you think it went up or down?
Up.
Up.
Not in a noticeable way necessarily, but 66 million people in the UK.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, it's also just
I
kind
never
of
even
like
thought about that.
On the
also
note
Do you
just
of,
think?
kinda like-
Do you think the people who passed that law did not know that would be the net effect?
of course they did.
No, I think they have no.
I can
fucking
tell you that they
idea.
knew for sure because I wrote one of the reports.
Oh shit! Really?
Well, there you fucking go.
damn.
You've been doing a lot of big work, Oil. Jesus.
On
You-
the,
They
on
did
the
it
note,
anyway, but they did it anyway, right?
Mm.
But they did it anyway.
Yeah.
But you're
I
also
mean, that's
assuming.
the thing. Like, I feel like a large part of what goes into this kind of shit is kind of like partly pandering, and it is like partly power tripping, where it's like, yeah, use the plastic straw and like it. I feel like there's a power trip element in that, which, when they haven't done the Eat the Bugs podcast, right? They haven't done that yet.
No, not yet.
Okay,
They've
because
talked about
like.
it.
Well, they kind of hinted that, or Sargon kind of hinted, heavily implied, or outright stated that part of what he was going to talk about with that is that he doesn't think there is like inherently anything sketchy about eating bugs. Like the way that the progressives kind of do it, it's kind of like a power trip for them, where they're like, "Yeah, you're
Well-
gonna fucking eat the bug. You're gonna fucking take it." How it's like there's
Well,
this kind of like degrading power trip kind of like element to it for them, where it's
Okay.
like not somebody like choosing to eat a bug. It's like somebody like I find
guess
bugs
it is.
kind of gross, but it's like, yeah, but we're gonna make you do it anyway.
Yeah, it makes
Well-
sense actually.
Well, the bug argument's an interesting one, right? Because would you eat a lobster?
That's different.
It's
Tell
not.
us about the lobsters.
They're pretty much the same thing.
No, it's not, sir. I'm sorry, I'm going to
Oh, by
disagree
the
with
way,
you on
I
this
just
one.
want to point out something. from the
Crustaceans are incredibly close. It's really just a scale thing. If you grow a bug big enough to like a lobster size, I'm thinking it's pretty tasty, probably.
Depends on how you prepare it, actually. But there's one thing. Student of history, he had a good point. I don't want a China final solution. I want a CCP final solution. Yes.
Yes,
Indeed.
Somehow.
On the topic of bugs as general as food, because I just stepped away from us for a quick second, I couldn't bring myself to eat like a whole bug, but if we were like grinding it up into like bug meal or something to use as a food additive, probably not have an issue. I mean, that's what chicken nuggets are essentially the same thing, but applied to chickens. You take all the nasty, gross bits, grind it up, deep fry it, and it tastes okay. But
Yeah, that's one step away from Soylent Green, though, isn't it? You know.
I mean,
Yeah, it is.
What are the? Is Soylent Green really that bad of an idea?
no,
That's not
I'm
great.
stopping now. Like this is like one of the things like Richard Dawkins said, where I'm just kind of like, yeah, but no. Where he's like, oh, you got all these stupid, like sentimental and religious people who it's like, oh, if we didn't have them, we could just eat our fucking human corpses, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, but no, like.
Not to
I'm
mention that
fine not.
even if you
I'm
ignore the
fine not
religious,
going cannibalism.
yeah, and even if you ignore the religious reasons to it, it's evolutionarily ingrained in people that dead people are gross.
No, it's a pretty easy argument. You couldn't eat a human now; it would make you very sick.
Yeah,
Humans
absolutely.
are absolutely toxic because of all the shit we put into our bodies through all sorts of other, just through pollution
it's like a
and all sorts
defense
of nonsense.
mechanism.
No. I mean, it's just like if you ate if you went back 200 years and ate humans, you'd probably be fine. But like a modern human's just full of
Yeah,
shit.
but like even outside of the health argument, there is just something that is just there's intrinsic moral content to the idea of eating another person or like fucking a human corpse.
Yeah,
It's just kinda like,
and
you
it's
don't do
actually
it.
built into the very fabric of our being. It's why the uncanny
Well, it's a
valley.
survival thing, probably,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it is. It's exactly it. And it's one of the theories as to why the Uncanny Valley exists, because what looks almost identical to a regular human, but isn't and is full of disease? A corpse.
Yeah.
And corpses are bad. It's probably an evolutionary thing that if you ate a human corpse, whatever killed it would probably kill you.
Yeah, good chance. Yeah.
But yeah, it's not a good thing to be eating people. I'm sure the leftists have probably already argued for Soylent Green. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest because they don't value the individual human.
Well, didn't
I
like
might be
what
a
was
bit
his
out
name?
of
Like
I might be a bit off on this one. What was Soylent Green again? I've completely forgotten.
Humans. Soylent Green is people.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
that one.
people!
Oh my God.
Well, I
That
mean,
one?
well, no, I mean, like they're already amenable to it, right? Because what was his name? Like Riza Aslan, didn't he go to some like
Yeah.
fucking cannibal culture? Be like, oh
Yeah,
yes,
well.
I will eat the human brain. How vibrant!
I do
Man,
think. I mean, I'm sort of okay with the concept. Not so much the eating of the human bits, but I mean, actually, the concept of the story is that elderly people who have no real quality of life left basically can go to the center and essentially sell their remaining life.
Mm.
So what actually happens is, so you've got really old sick people, and they go to the center, and by sacrificing their life, they provide financial support to their families. So although they're turned into food ultimately, their family actually get a payment.
Well, I
Hmm.
The hell
suppose
did I
that's
just walk in
something,
on?
but I don't think it's probably still not a moral good.
No. But I'm saying if you take the eating people bit out of it.
Oh, if you take the eating people bit out of it, yeah. In that case, yeah. Sorry, I didn't quite understand what you meant there. Yeah, you're absolutely
Well,
right.
the idea is that they basically the old sick frail remove themselves as a burden from society. So they remove the ongoing cost of their care.
Well,
And that money is then supplied, or a portion of that money is then given to the family in support.
It sounds like voluntary Nazism.
Yeah, sort of.
A bit.
maybe.
Yeah.
I
How do you feel about
socialism?
fascism? I could take it or leave it. Ah, that's a good answer. That's the answer we were looking for. That's literally what you're looking for. It's literally what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Depends on the day, I guess.
Indeed. So one of the interesting things about it is I think I remember an evolutionary psychologist or someone who is into it talking about something along the lines of being able to assess a culture by the condition that they leave the old people in. And it's only in sophisticated cultures that the elderly are cared for by the young.
Okay, so all of the old cultures where the middle age was like 25, they were screwed. They had no... okay, no, I suppose old age to them would have been 40 or so.
Yeah, but I mean those that are unable to
50,
care for
actually.
themselves. Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
only
okay,
really
fair
in places that evolve the concept of civilization where that really happened. Because your nomadic tribes, if the
basically only
elderly or
white
the
people.
sick, yes, pretty much.
The Norwegians have to jump off a cliff.
Yep, I think in
Well,
India,
that was back in the old days because we still had the whole thing that when you die, you either go to Valhalla or Niflheim. Of course, if it was a good person, you'd go to a third place, but not many people went there because either you were an asshole or you were a warrior. So when old people were like, I feel like I have to die right now, but I don't want to go to the icy hell place and get eaten by a snake god. And it's like, don't worry, friend. Don't worry, friend. I'm just gonna bring you to a mountain and yeet you, or actually have to
Yeah.
yeet yourself. Okay.
See, this is
Incidentally,
what...
guys, anyone who wants to understand Norwegian culture better, I can tell you how to. On Netflix, there's a show called Norseman, and it is extremely accurate. Very, very,
Really?
very accurate. And I suggest you
You
watch it.
son of a bitch.
It's absolutely the most accurate thing you've ever seen in your life.
Or you can read the Jane Foster female.
gonna
No,
stab you
no,
if
no,
you
no,
keep
no,
doing
no,
that.
no, no.
I swear to your God. Second, stop it.
Very,
Well, I mean,
very accurate
hey,
show.
like as long as so how the young care for the elderly is supposed to be some kind of societal metric or civilization metric or culture metric. Shit,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that just kind of proves the point that like progressives aren't pretty civilized. I mean, look at AOC and her treatment of her abuela.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I have to interject here and sort of disagree. Because can you imagine what kind of poor generation would have to be insane enough to take care of elderly millennials?
Ugh.
Yeah, exactly.
okay.
So perhaps your older people are wankers.
I'm not sure there will be any
There is
elderly
that.
millennials though.
No, because a lot have killed themselves.
I think when their parents have died
I take
and
offence at
left
that,
them
but
nothing,
true.
left them nothing, I think there's a good possibility that there won't be any.
I just want to point back to the Norseman. That old guy actually right, because Norseman is a comedy, a very funny comedy, but the traditions and a lot of things that happen there are actually quite fucking close to how ancient Norway and Sweden and Denmark used to be.
I like the way that in the
I don't-
Norse mythology is being a bloodthirsty warrior is considered a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I had
Also, the
Yes,
world was
based
made from.
Scandinavians.
The world was not created from a giant right hand in the sky just saying "Let there be light." It was three gods in a ice on an iceberg with a planet-sized hermaphroditic giant who said, "Fuck this shit. We want more room." Killed the bastard, tore his corpse apart, and made a planet out of it.
See, that's much better than the Christian story.
Yeah.
I, I, I
Yeah,
have to say I didn't get from it that it was a comedy.
Of
No,
course
because it's
you
probably
have
too
to.
close to the life of Scotland.
It seemed to be fair, I'm from Aberdeen, which has very close ties with Norway. Anyway, I have also lived in Oslo for over a year.
You're an
in the past,
honorary Norwegian.
Okay, so
and
I
also
have to
you're
know,
more
you-
Norwegian than
you
the
were in,
average man from Bergen. Just gonna say, you're more Norwegian than the average guy from Bergen.
Yeah.
You're in the good part of Scotland then.
In the very north, in the cold and frosty north. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because
It's where we
I've
went over and had a lot of struggles.
I've been to I was in Glasgow several years ago, and everyone in Glasgow was very nice. Though to be fair, I went to watch a rugby match there, so there was a lot of South Africans everywhere. So probably why I felt at
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
I've known people from Glasgow, and they're all heroin addicts and want to kill people because that's what the jokes are about Glasgow.
Yeah, pretty
I don't
much.
know any stereotypes about Aberdeen though.
It's cocaine.
Oh, coke.
Yeah. Well, it's oil
Okay.
industry.
Oh,
Shit,
okay.
nobody tell Hunter Biden about that place.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. Aberdeen in the '90s was quite a place.
Fucking
can tell you.
snort that Parmesan
In terms
cheese.
of how
There's
can we
a-
say this politely, recreational purposes.
more office purposes.
Oh, okay.
Staying
I thought you
attentive
meant
for
like
long
train
hours,
spotting.
I imagine.
Very
Also-
very sort of Wolf of Wall Street sort of activity. Lots
Okay.
lots of sports cars and
We're not fucking leaving. We're not fucking leaving.
Yeah. So I'm going to forcefully drag us back to the G7 or G70. So because one of the things I want to do is make a comment on the tweet from Jill Biden, who is somehow a United States government official because she's fucking the president.
Oh God, that's so many jokes. I don't even know where to begin.
What
I mean,
she
at
says
least
she's
this one is a
prepping for the
woman.
G7. Why the fuck does
Democratic-
some unqualified, unelected bimbo have anything to fucking do with the G7?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so fucking weird. Like with Donald Trump, they were like, "Oh, why is his immediate family involved in shit? This is like nepotism." Like with the RNC convention thing, they were like, "Oh, why is Trump's wife speaking there? She's not like in office. What is that?" Or no, it was like, "Why is Trump's son speaking there? He's just the son of the president. What does he have to do with any of this?" And then, like, at the DNC one, they have, like, fucking Michelle Obama speak, and the progressives, like, practically worship her. It's such a
Michelle
weird
Obama,
fucking
don't you mean
double standard.
Michael Obama?
That's because she's a diversity
I mean,
hire.
There's a good thing with Jill Biden. There's a good thing with Jill Biden, at least. You know that she's actually a first lady, unlike, Miss Obama.
Mike.
Michael.
Disavow, bro. Disavow. Like we're gonna
Dude,
get
have you seen the
slapped.
shoulders on that chick?
No, disavow.
Yeah.
Bro, watch, dude. We're gonna get like fucking shut down by YouTube, and they're gonna like slap
For that? No,
They're
we're
gonna
not,
slap a label underneath like the fucking video where it's like
Dude,
the
if-
Associated Press. The Associated Press has confirmed that Michelle Obama is a biological female.
Dude,
The-
Louis
Here's
Louis
the
can
dick
scream
pic.
the N word
Perfect.
and the
It's not
F word on
better
here.
than
He'll
penis.
be fine.
I'm looking forward to the Biden visit with the Queen because I'm really fucking hoping that we'll see a.
Well, hey, it's the
Picture.
first time
I
the
really
Queen
like
has
the-
first time in decades that the Queen's met a president older than her.
Yeah. Also, I just quite
Is
like
he? No, he's
forward to
not.
seeing a picture of Joe Biden sniffing Princess Charlotte.
Oh no.
I was gonna say
Nobody
Biden.
Please don't.
I was gonna say the exact opposite.
Can we say
'cause-
international incident?
how old is the Queen?
Like 90
The Queen's in her
something?
90s, isn't
Something.
Yeah, and Biden is like 89 or something, isn't he?
And well, no, remember, Biden's been in Congress for 2 centuries.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
you know,
what
I
I'm just saying is
remember
if-
200 years ago when I first joined the Senate.
I'm just saying if Biden says something about Princess Charlotte's hair clips or something, there's going to be a fucking war.
He won't make it out of the fucking UK.
Does he say barrettes or
Biden is
something?
gonna be like, I am the Senate.
Wait, Nancy
No,
Pelosi is
I
81
am the
years old.
Senate.
Wait,
Nancy
how old
Pelosi
is
is
it?
older than Bernie Sanders? What the fuck? I did not know this. Wait, is she the
Wow.
oldest person in the Senate?
We need to destroy her phylacteries. Stop her coming back from the dead.
Hold on,
Yeah,
how old is
seriously. Like,
How old
Yes,
is
a holy
Maxine
light.
Waters? I'm just curious now.
Next time you meet her, just use.
Oh my
turn
god, no,
undead.
she's older. Maxine Waters is older.
Oh my god. Oh, that is quite obvious though. Have you
Wait,
seen
what?
thing?
Low IQ Maxine Waters.
He's not wrong.
I mean,
Oh
how
my
old
god.
Is,
have
how
you
old is
heard
Beetlejuice?
Maxine?
Bernie is 79.
No, Beetlejuice, the governor of
Lori
The
Lightfoot?
guy with the fucked teeth?
what's her name?
Lori Lightfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she must be in her 60s, I think.
Okay, I don't mean to be completely rude. Actually, but don't. She looks like a fish. I'm just gonna come out and say it. She looks like a fish. I have seen literal salmons more attractive than that.
Yeah.
And I
Okay,
live
well,
in Norway.
well, you know
Speaking
who
of
just,
the
like,
Queen, though,
you know who just
go on.
just
Sorry.
one thing real quick. You know who just sounds completely fucking stupid though? Like where you just hear it in the voice, like Diane Abbott. Like I don't know. I caught that one question time, even though I'm not British, where they had Jordan Peterson on, and Diane Abbott was also on, and just the way she talks, where it's like, "When I did the thing," and it's like, oh man, like it hurts
I mean,
to listen to.
I think we generally think she's a moron.
Yeah.
What, Lori Lightfoot?
But
Or Diane
you
Abbott.
realize that
Yes.
Diane Abbott used to be in a relationship with Jeremy
Yeah,
Corbyn,
like
right?
didn't he like parade her around like naked at parties or something?
There's
Some like
some,
weird shit
oh.
like that.
Okay, guys, just the comment section. Just student of history comes with another one. Lightfoot is a Lovecraftian fever dream. Does anyone wanna
Accurate.
try
I do
it?
remember this one
I do not
Lovecraft
disagree.
story I read. Well, I read this one Lovecraft story in school where this guy like visits this like town or something. There's a bunch of fucking like weird fish people. And he just stays the night there. Like that was the weirdest thing to me. He shows up and it's like, oh, a bunch of people look like a fish. Well, I'm gonna stay in a hotel here. Like, no, you get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like,
I
what
have
are
a
you
theory
doing,
about
man?
that. I have a theory about that. He actually knows Laura Lightfoot. That's why he stayed there because maybe it's normal.
Yeah.
There's a picture of her where she looks high as a kite.
She probably
Every
is.
picture of
It's
her, she looks
Chicago.
high,
It's
because-
full of drugs.
Guys,
It's-
check
it just-
Primed Knight says Lori Lightfoot is the name Beetlejuice says 3 times.
Yeah.
Hold on,
so-
just look. I want to send you guys a picture and tell me she doesn't look like she's high off her balls.
So while Spoon
Go on.
does that, I've been having a thought. I think I've told Trim, but I think maybe even Second could agree with this, minus the whole being an American part of it. But on the topic of the night of the Queen and thinking about Black Lives Matter, there are 3 times a real man kneels for God, the Queen, and the woman he's asking to marry him.
Yes. Yes.
I was
and-
gonna say another time, but okay.
Okay, say it.
Oh, you're on your knees. Why don't you draw the fucking picture?
I said a man.
Of course.
That's why specified man. Wow.
Women can go
I'm
on
not
their
really
knees for
confused
that
for that
reason.
Spoon has a different philosophy, bro. He's like, right, you gotta get on your knees, you gotta lick that clit for the woman, just to show that men are really better at everything.
Yeah, but
Or-
I mean,
That's the only reason. That's the only reason Spoon would like give a woman oral, because he's like, I want to prove that I'm better at this shit than you. Let me show you how it's done.
The only good thing that's come out of the LGBTQ plus I bullshit system is that it is proven that men make better lesbians than women do.
just make better women than women. Full stop.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
that's
ah,
what
shit,
they're
what's...
dominating all their sports.
Yeah.
That's
God, imagine if the first female president in the U.S. was a trans woman.
well,
That would be hilarious.
I know one that could do that.
Oh my
and
god,
she's
Bruce
already
Jenner
on
being
the right.
president.
Oh my god, yes.
Where's
That would be
David?
the funniest
I don't
thing
even give a
ever.
shit at this point. Let's just make it happen for the meme.
Kathleen
I
Kennedy for
remember-
president. Come on, people, we can do this. The first woman in fucking the office.
Exactly,
And they
because
have
I'm a
to be, and they have to be
conservative.
white.
Yes. Oh, crap. What's her name? I've completely forgotten. The one running for governor.
Bruce Jenner.
Kennedy.
Sorry?
Oh, no, that's fuck it.
Bruce Jenner, yes. Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
Caitlyn Jenner, yes. Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
Mate, better woman than even women are. Runs over someone with a car, gets off scot-free. Yeah, that's something a woman would do.
Buckle
I
up,
did,
buckaroo.
I did listen to the campaign ad. I thought the campaign ad was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was like, huh.
Sorry, guys, for saying Kathleen Kennedy. That is the name that shall not be named again. I'm sorry. It was a mistake, and I actually apologize for this. Anything else? No, but this, I'm sorry for exposing you to the name that shall not be named.
Yes, the
Bro,
first
but you
woman
just
president of
said
the
it-
USA would be a man.
Well, you just said it again, Trim, to apologize for saying it, bro.
No, I
It's
didn't.
like it's like the Life of Brian Monty Python skit where it's like, he said Jehovah! You said Jehovah!
Oh, you got the
That's what you
reference.
said.
Thank God. Oh, you're beautiful.
I remember years ago, the feminists used to say, you know, with the advent of the artificial womb, women won't need men anymore. It's going to be the other way. It's going to be the other way.
Yes.
With the advent of the artificial womb, the men who want to be women will no longer require women, and women will.
Okay, well, it's
Yeah.
also like, that's just so weird to me because I am like, okay, I think that would be better than like abortion, but at the same time, there's just something that seems like the humanity of both the mother and child involved. There's something very human that's just kind of being.
Well, I imagine we
stripped
would
away in
see
that kinda-
massively increased amounts of child abuse. Because
You think-
basically the
I don't know
only
if
thing
that's
that...
true because, well, most children that are murdered by their mothers.
True.
But there's one thing, though.
But imagine
the
how
whole
many would be
artificial
murdered by their mothers if their mothers weren't biologically programmed to care for them.
I mean, you
Think
can
about
see
this,
this.
though. How
Okay, no, I'm
many,
just gonna make a really
surrogates-
racist joke.
Well, then a good thing.
Oh.
to stop.
I think we'll just go. I
the
think it'll
thing-
just be
I
raised by
have a
men and we'll go full Spartan.
Wait,
I have a thing
Spoon,
to
I'll
attribute
make
to
it for
the
you,
artificial
Spoon.
womb thing. The
I'll
artificial
make it
womb
for
thing.
you, Spoon. Do you guys think that Lori Lightfoot is a failed abortion?
No,
Yes.
because
No,
That would
she's
imply
invalid.
that Laurie Lightfoot is human.
look at
She's
that
from
picture in
Innsbruck,
general.
Remember?
And tell me she doesn't look like she's been up for like 5 days.
She looks like she's been dead for 5 days.
I
She
have to
looks
ask
like-
this, why are her eyes so far apart?
She looks like she's been like participating in activities with Hunter Biden.
She actually does.
Yes. Student of history brings up a very salient point. Random question: has anyone ever seen a stable lesbian relationship? No. And fun
Yes.
fact, and statistically, was it between a trans man and another trans man, or a trans woman and trans woman?
No, funny enough, it's actually between like some like semi-conservative lesbians who
Well,
go to
that's
farm.
I've actually seen one too. I have seen a stable lesbian relationship that actually also turned into a marriage. My
Yeah.
neighbors in a place I used to live in, they're still together and they're just a whole couple.
Well, there
Of
is
course,
one
it was
thing
a
that
Russian
Highest-
chick and a Norwegian
there
chick.
is one thing though that
Highest.
I think I'm going to say exactly what you're about to say, all. But there is one thing that lesbians are better at than straight couples: domestic violence.
I
Yes.
was literally about to make that same joke because they have like the highest.
Highest statistical chance of domestic
Yeah.
violence.
Yep, and which
Well,
group has the lowest
but-
statistical chance?
Gay men.
Gay men. So there we go.
Those lesbians have got a lot of
I
toxic
think it's
masculinity
something
going on.
about like it is something about like people are like, oh, we raise men to be violent. It's like no, because men have like greater upper body strength. We do the exact opposite. We teach men to control that impulse because if they don't, shit gets bad. And I think the fucking domestic violence statistics kind of reflect
It's really-
that somewhat.
Well, when you don't
The
look
answer's
at
really easy.
the crime statistics, when you look at, they did a research study where they asked people to self-identify whether they were an abuser, and in the vast majority of cases, the violence was reciprocal. When it wasn't reciprocal, it was nearly always the woman doing it. And in the reciprocal cases, it was nearly always started by the woman. It's just that the man holds back, then he snaps and the woman
Snaps.
dies.
But see,
I mean,
that-
any serious person would tell you that's true. I mean,
but that
it's
should raise a
obvious.
point because the argument from the people with the police are the police don't stop crime. Yes, they do, because they act as a deterrent. The same thing with the lesbians. If there's no men around, then they start knocking the shit out of each other.
Well,
so the man is the deterrent.
a few
Well,
years ago,
that's something that you can see when you're looking at, shall we say, people of a certain cultural background in places like inner city Chicago. If they're
Hardly a
not,
culture.
we'll call it a culture, but it's very much lacking culture. If it's not gang
It
related,
has.
you quite often see fights, very violent, vicious fights amongst women. The men
oh god, yeah.
will posture like shit, but they tend not to have fights. And when they
Okay,
do,
I'm not
it's a
backing
couple
one
of
thing. I just
punches.
need to say one thing. Hashtag not all yuckamuckamers.
If it's not
Well, I
gang
mean-
related, it's because they're a visitor.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I do think this kind of proves the point, though, that like conservatives do LGBT better because, I have witnessed a decent number of like pretty successful lesbian relationships, but the funny thing is, they're all like deeply religious lesbians who like got like brought up and have this like ethos of like family values. Like when I get in a relationship with another person, there's going to be this like mutual self-sacrifice. I have to like sacrifice some serious shit on mine. They don't come from like the kind of degenerate secular culture of just like, oh yeah, just like fetish parades and let's just like fuck whoever and I shouldn't have to change from my partner. My partner should just completely
Yeah, I just
accept
want to
me the
address
way I am
something
because
from-
I am beautiful and
Yeah.
perfect.
So I want to address something that Prime Knight said in chat. He says, so men are more about intimidation and women are about getting even. It's not actually about intimidation, it's about status, which is why you'll quite often see the hold me back, bro, hold me back, bro. That way, when they're both pulled away by their friends, they can both go, I was willing to fight him, and they both rise in status. So,
Okay, so
I
I have a
was
thing
wrong.
about this, right? And this is the thing that I always say to people: if you look at the difference between men and women's relationships with men and women, right? Women and women and men in terms of friends, right? If a man, you have a group of male friends, they that group very quickly sorts itself into a hierarchy, and that hierarchy generally stays stable for the entire duration that you're friends. Unless one of you takes some sort of massive leap financially or status-wise in jobs, your status largely stays the same in that group. Whereas women's groups, the statuses change constantly as their status changes. If a man in the men's group does some crime against his fellow men, he can be ostracized from that group. But that man always has a route to redemption, always, and that may be having a fight with the person that he did ill to and losing. That is still a road to redemption for men. If a woman is ostracized from a women's group, there is no road to redemption for her. Those people will largely pretend she doesn't exist.
Indeed. And there is
Women
truth
are much crueler than men.
Yeah. And there is absolutely truth to the so-called joke that men will insult each other and not mean it. Women will compliment each other and not mean it.
I've actually seen it, and
That's
I've
a
been through it
truism.
myself.
That's true.
Like, especially being Australian, if you're in a group of men and you're not being insulted after, and you're like a month into the relationship and you're not being insulted by them,
they don't like you.
They don't like you.
Yeah.
It-
Though there's one thing, there is no person in the world who will insult you more than your closest friend, because
Absolutely.
nobody is gonna have the balls to call you out on everything as much as your closest friend. So when you have a dude who goes around just fucking railing you every single moment of your life, and you can just handle it, you know he's your best friend.
Well, I mean, my best friend took it a step further. He ran me over with his car, so I mean, like,
you still going
I
on
think we
about
got
that?
it nailed.
Fuck me, man. Like,
Get over it.
yeah, exactly, right.
His friend did.
Yeah, right over him.
You got into the George Floyd stuff afterwards, and you defeated that addiction, so you didn't have to get a knee on your neck.
Yeah, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, apparently.
Unless it kills you, of course.
You know, and the titanium pegs in his leg, well, they are technically stronger than the bone, so, I mean, that is fair
Wait,
comment.
titanium pegs?
Well, I don't know if he's
sorry.
just making a joke about it.
It's fine.
No, my legs didn't actually, like, my legs themselves didn't suffer any, like, kind of bone damage or whatever, just some, like, tissue damage. The bone
What are you
damage
fucking
was,
complaining about?
Oh, no.
Stop being such a fucking pussy.
God literally was with you when a car drove over you, and you're still bitching about it.
No,
Yeah,
the bone damage.
Forgive him already.
I said my legs. I said my legs specifically. Now I got like the pelvic. I got like a ton of fractures in my pelvis, so I couldn't like fucking walk for a few months, and then like some like broken ribs and shit.
Boo-hoo. Yeah.
Honestly, most annoying thing was like not being able to drive.
Well, in America,
no, I take that back. No, the worst thing was waking up with a catheter in, and then them having to like remove that, and
oh yeah, that's fun.
Burning when I peed for like fucking 2 weeks afterwards.
Ooh.
That was fucking awful.
I feel your pain.
It was the worst thing.
On that one.
Yeah.
You see, I like. Yeah. See, I don't know how I feel about that. Like China being like East Taiwan meme. Part of me kind of hates it because I'm like, well, shit, that's kind of insulting to Taiwan to suggest that China would be a part of it.
Oh God, I apologize to Taiwan for insulting you to such an extent. I'm sorry. I did not mean to compare you to communists. Please forgive us. We disavow.
I mean, that would be like, should the U.S. like annex Canada? It's like that'd be fucking awful. We'd get like a bunch of like pussy lefty dipshits voting.
I sort of hope the Chinese do the beach landings in Taiwan, and then Taiwan just completely BTFO them. They've actually been secretly building shit for defenses against it for years, you know, or something. That would just be like, yeah, that'd be nice.
Would be nice to see China get what they deserve.
Just get absolutely fucking what happened? Yeah, it could be pretty funny.
It would be hilarious. We could definitely get behind that.
Yeah, fucking. You just sort of see Saving Private Ryan style beach landings, mowed down to fuck.
I mean, Antifa uses bike locks. When you go against Antifa, you use a pan. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, that was.
Now, you have
a funny
access
idea.
to a lot of pans, right? But like,
It,
then when,
it's still-
when you attack them with the pan, like, and you get like pulled in by the cops, you just like drill a hole in the pan and start fucking it and go, "I'm bisexual. Are you oppressing a sexual minority on this month of all months?"
Well, you wouldn't be bisexual, you'd be pansexual, surely.
Yeah, did I not say that? My bad.
No, you said bisexual.
Fuck. Apologies to bisexual people for comparing them to that made up shit.
Yeah.
It amazes me that no one has literally mowed down a crowd of fucking Antifa yet. I mean, just amazes me that no one in
Didn't a
America
dude
just...
do that
just-
back in 2016 or some shit?
Oh, it just amazes me that no one's just pulled out a pump action and just literally just dropped 20 Antifa guys. Like, it just seems incredible to me that it hasn't happened.
I seem to remember there was this one case where actually Antifa people went mad at someone in a car, and he actually had a gun, but he shot once, and he didn't
Yeah, but that's
hit.
what I'm saying. It seems incredible to me that there hasn't been some sort of sort of 25.
Even if you just brandish your gun in self-defense, like, the law is gonna side with them because we live in this like corrupt system.
Sure, but you would think somebody would have.
Well,
just
if you're
lost their
going to
shit
get,
by now
if you're
and
going to go to
wiped
prison
them out.
anyway, why not just take all the fuckers you can with you?
Yeah, I mean, like, shit. I remember back in like middle school or some shit when I was like 12, there was this kid who kept trying to pick a fight with me, and I kept like not wanting to fight him because I was like, shit, like, I don't want to get in trouble. And so he like corners me after school one day, like shoves me against a wall and punches me really hard in the stomach. So like I push him off of me, and I really want to keep going at him, but I just like walk away because I'm like, fuck, I don't want to get in trouble. And then a month later, I get called into the assistant principal's office, and he's like, you pushed him. That's 3 days of in-school suspension. You get the same punishment he does. It's like, well, fuck, if I would have known that, I would have like fucking
Knocked
wailed
the shit
on
out of
him.
him.
Yeah.
Well, that's what a lot of parents I know tell their kids, especially their sons. You're going to get punished anyway, so make sure the fucker never does it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna get punished at school, but you're gonna get rewarded when you get home. So
Well, I mean, depending on the parents you have.
well, in my house, it'd be fucking steak and lobster. 7-2-1.
Well, actually, I once remember this. There was a fight in my school when I was a kid, right? And there was this one guy who was constantly being bullied by 3 other guys. And at one day, he just turned around because they were like the 3 guys walking after him was like being a bunch of dicks. So he just turns around and unhooks his backpack halfway through the swing, turns it into a flail, and he always carried all his school books, like 10 books, and just hits all 3 of them cartoon style, and they spin once each of them and fall down. Of course, the guy was taken to the principal's afterwards, but he told me the day afterwards that his dad bought him ice cream.
Correct response.
Yes.
Indeed. So,